I don't want to go through an essay. Editing is very hard. I don't want to go.
He stopped the recording. And restarted it so that, he's putting my Wi-Fi.
I don't want anybody driving by, when we get famous and they start looking for us. Someone's coming by and stealing your Wi-Fi password.
Right.
Sitting outside your house. I'm on the same internet as Nazira.
Just see it.
It's under passkey.
You gotta see it to believe it.
How did IT guy work that if you'd ask him for the password, he'd just give you a QR code and he'd scan it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I don't know how to do that, but that sounds amazing.
That does sound amazing.
Your phone will let you do it
I think I stayed in an Airbnb that did that.
to share
That's cool.
when you're connected to something.
Oh.
That's cool.
How do you do it? Maybe
So if I'm in my Wi-Fi looking
Yeah.
at it, it's just share.
Oh.
That's cool.
And it'll let you share the Wi-Fi that way.
Yeah.
I thought that was very clever.
No, that's amazing.
Smart stuffs.
The smart stuff. Anywho, so then we went there, and she was still there, and then
And she fireballed
she
the shit out of me.
fireballed the crap out of everybody.
Yeah, she did.
And that hurt.
Let's
Quill
do
wasn't there?
some
Quill wasn't there.
Probably a good thing.
stealth checks.
You got it's very 4 HP back before you were dragged down the hallway with
Okay.
Noose.
Noose and
I got 4 HP back.
I believe so. Yeah.
Johan.
I'll take it.
And then we murdered a number of people.
Mm-hmm.
A city full of Sansarans.
They were all bad.
They were all terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was forced to give up because she couldn't mind control us because we are level 16 and Mark was sad.
I did hear a few spells not work out.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
The mind control attempt at Beep Boop failed because of the sword.
Yep.
Which
got the
was
sword.
such a great twist.
Plot twist.
What a save too. It was you'd forgotten too and almost submitted despite that.
I was ready to kill, the whole time I wasn't thinking about it, I was like, I'm about to kill somebody. Who am I gonna hit? And we convinced her that she should let us do our thing.
Yay.
And then now we have a mountain. And we're trying to decide what to do with that mountain.
Yeah, we stopped it from crashing into the planet, so that was
Good.
a plus.
Yeah, we ended
That's
last
smart.
session with
Yeah, my trajectory was not intended to be left untouched.
forever.
Down and away.
Dre's been jonesing to drive.
So what in this moment with you guys having fought Vitaria to submission, or she's agreed to give Nazira a chance, and that in immortal elven talk means a lifetime's effort. It seems, kicking the can down the road another several hundred years at least,
Nice.
barring unforeseen early death.
Which I have a contingency.
Got a contingency
plan
already,
for
so
that.
it's even less likely to be an issue. So
But didn't she ruin your contingency plan by stealing?
No, she left me her eye, and so I was able to make a new clone with it.
We're gonna have to stop her one day.
Zira's going to become the big bad in our next game.
and relevant to what we were talking about in the car, we were kind of talking about some things, and Vitaria did not steal the tongue from Sehanine or the god. What's his name? Coraline. But actually stole an eye from Sehanine, which was, I believe, destroyed.
I stabbed it out of her face.
In their fight.
Aww.
Sahani, or when Nazira and Vitaria split. What that means for the eye and that power or whatever, who knows, that sort of thing. It's godly discretion of some kind. It's a tough question to answer. Not many people who are expert on such things. So yeah, in last session also, Nazira received a kiss on the cheek, on either cheek, from Vitaria, restoring at least a share of that divine gift still that Vitaria still has. That is still your birthright, or part of who you are, or something. This being this formerly the voice of a divine, the golden tongue. So with the urgency of that fight having expired, and you guys having some heated words assessing if Vitaria is going to be a continued threat, you guys decide that it would behoove you, as you look out the hole at the bottom of the mountain below you, that is now like showing, instead of the sky or the world below, is now like you're in the atmosphere, and you can hear the this low, dull roar of just air passing by as the mountain just sweeping through some amount of the atmosphere above the planet's surface. And you decided it behooved you to stop the Mount Enru from smashing into the surface anywhere, much less, atop some hapless villager or something, or right into Ketan or some catastrophe.
Set course to the Glenwood.
Ramming speed.
That's not a bad idea. Cataclysmic events.
Yeah.
Here we go.
The episode where the party invents a nuclear weapon. Just drop a mountain on them from orbit.
Right as it lands, we stop the things that are making the plane of air portal go away, and just transport the whole Glenwood to the plane of air.
Nice.
Where nothing bad can ever happen.
What could go wrong?
Mark suddenly planning.
Yes.
Genocide.
They were all in on it.
Yeah. So what do you guys do in this moment? As Nazira and Vitaria at least agree that they should hasten to the helm to gain more direct control of the ship. There is an implicit question also in that of, what do you do with a ship or the mountain once it's not plummeting to the surface of the earth?
I think we're gonna
I had a fucking week to think about this.
attach it to the Panopticon
Mm-hmm.
and make it spy for us on things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the
Use it?
Samsarans seem to be willing to assist with that, because otherwise we'll just
Otherwise,
because we're terrible war criminals now.
We might as well ask them politely to start loading fuel onto our vehicle.
We
That's already
should load up
happened.
It's already-
Shippy.
okay.
I think we beset
Mucinite?
you
Okay.
both and Johan
Okay.
to do that,
Yeah, I think that's right.
and the other 2 or 4 that are still alive.
And Vitaria's gonna reactivate the library,
Nice.
so
Let's
Ooh.
forget.
I can download everything onto the tablet.
Shippy.
Yeah, on the Shippy.
Shippy is a little more stealthy than a mountain.
But there can be good things to say about the show force.
Yeah.
We really have to keep them at 0.
Yeah.
Showing these tendencies early.
I know.
Got so much power.
It's gone to her head.
Yeah, I mean, can we leave someone to communicate with us long distance?
Well,
Sending spells.
we still
Yeah,
send
we have sending spells.
bad words is staying.
Yeah.
As are the Samsarans.
Yeah, I think making it spy is fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know
And
if we
I-
can send. We could leave Ellie. No.
Well,
Bastard's daughter. What's her name? They've been out of character. They've been out of the game for so long. I don't even remember our lackeys' names. Timothy and.
Is it copy of Grey or copy of Grey?
A copy of Grey is what I'm currently using.
But you might just switch it out mid-game. Like, oh, this one's low on HP. I'm going to use copy of Grey.
This phone is tied to my PC, so I can do copy of Grey. But then if I want to play it on here, then it's a different login. It's a whole thing.
Just like real life.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah.
Is
have my
everybody's
people over
stuff
here, too.
on D&D Beyond right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why are they on my DMD stats? Huh?
Just curious. Jeez. It's just, it's been a while since I looked at them.
Been a while. Sorry.
Copyright.
My singing is not that good. Hey, well, YouTube will never pick that up.
Why are you looking at her D&D
See, I'm not the only one who's skeptical about this.
I do this from time to time. It's good to know that.
He's looking at making sure we're not cheating.
That could be.
Yeah, let me just quickly run through these level 16 characters to oh no, technically that number should be one lower. And you guys could cheat so easily at this point.
Actually, D&D Beyond lies. It says that my walking speed is 35, but it's 40. I know.
Liar.
Could you?
I was listening the other day and I realized that Beepboop got some shift weave, and I forgot about it.
Shift
This whole
weave.
time.
What's shift weave?
Like a cloak that, not shift weave, it's actually not that, it's like a cloak that can hide you. It can match the color of your surroundings.
Like a camouflage.
Camouflage
Aw.
cloak that was given to me by the druids when we went to go visit them with Gray.
Oh. Cool.
So there's a thing that I forgot I had.
And I'm sure Xerox would have given you the cocoon that we grabbed, and probably you've had enough time to grab more cocoons.
Oh yeah.
If
I
you're
forgot all
interested
about
in
that.
that.
Good call. Putting it in my inventory now.
So,
Ice cream truck.
Go.
what is that?
It's from. I think it is from outside.
Oh, it
An
is.
actual ice cream
I
truck.
couldn't tell if it was coming from Joel's phone. It's anyways, what was I saying?
I left the screen door open so we can get some air circulation in here.
Love that.
Even if it's probably mostly, I don't know, smoke or something else.
Yeah, so it seems like, at the very least, Nazira and Vitaria are going to rush towards most likely the nearest elevator access and head towards the helm to reassert some control over the vessel, or the mountain rather. I need to stop calling this so we can maintain difference between Shippy and the mountain. The mountain, Mount Ainaru. And just for, ease of gaming and getting everybody back together, Quilla, I think that there is some news that you thought was relevant enough to return to the party and deliver. Having gone to, with the other egg away from gamers, you ventured into the storage depot area, found that some bit of investigation revealed to each of you guys that while the stores of Zephyr here are substantial, from what you've kind of gleaned from accessing the schematics and your experience in the heart of this, the engine of this machine and stuff, the mountain, it's obviously going to take a lot more Zephyr to keep a mountain moving than it will Shippy. If you want to fly the mountain around and do some crazy ventures with it, you'd probably burn through the remaining fuel much more
Very
quickly.
quickly.
But if you took what you have here, you'd probably be able to run Shippy for the rest of your lives. Just the difference in scale of consumption.
Right. Okay.
So you think that, knowing that, assuming some victory, your party would be very interested in acquiring some space mountain.
Yeah.
You think this would be some important information for decision making in the near future. So we'll just say that Quilla, after a little bit of a challenging, journey to the depot, feeling still pretty rough from your bloodletting, you decide to return and deliver this news to the party. So we'll say, as you guys are wrapping up and deciding what to do next, and having Victoria and Zira go to the helm, Quill will just rejoin you all there.
I was actually gonna say I want to bring Shippy back around, but never mind.
You can do that.
It's too late now.
Yeah, I think.
Back around to where?
To the top of the mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Because he could
Technically,
probably
yeah.
fly in since the thing is open.
I mean, it's, potentially.
Then we could jump onto Shippy.
Oh my
So
god.
beautiful.
So cool.
But you've ruined it, Mark. Just kidding.
Yeah, so I'll share that with the party. I think we should also look into if is there a space? I mean, we know that this mountain is involved in the ley lines and figuring out things. We might need to make sure there's some Zephyr available to put this mountain in a specific spot at some point.
Yeah.
Like what if we need to restore it to whatever mountain it came off of, or part of the earth where it came out of the earth.
I think we'll definitely want to keep some Zephyr here. And we also have the opportunity to have it gather information. For instance, Quilla, it can look out at Ratha.
Mm-hmm.
Or we could just go there.
Just go there over a mountain.
I mean, I know that we have a lot of stuff to do right now, but
Great long tree.
Yeah,
space
probably
is like a big book, right? Think of it. Each star might have infinite amounts of paper.
Star? Firefly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
The grade seems to think that the sky is full of fireflies.
Bugs. Yes.
Space bugs. Is there a bowl I can use for
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
an excellent idea.
Mm-hmm.
You have enough marijuana.
Chips.
Cat came up and spelled my finger, and I'm like, oh, what is that?
Anything?
What's up?
Want anything?
I'm good.
If you guys are hungry, we have the beans and rice.
Sugar.
Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes you got it.
If you're okay with roast of these in there, and we can have those on top of it.
Oh, barbaric.
Damn it!
How does Rennie deal with the thunder?
She doesn't care.
Sorry.
She doesn't care about thunder or fireworks. She's terrified of going out on the sidewalk. Out on the sidewalk. Fireworks.
Really? Well, that's a good for her to have.
She, well, it's, and apparently sometimes the hallway in her building, you know. 'Cause it's-
Very agoraphobic.
Yeah. But yeah, thunder, fireworks, not a problem.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I don't really understand, but it's okay.
Oh, so long. Damn, wait, no. I got it. First try.
Nice. And if you want some
What?
That douche?
yeah.
Alright, thank you.
Oh god, that's so good.
What kind of beans do you use?
You have a very impressive bean collection.
Yeah, I used,
You still on the bean list?
I order them when I need them now, so that I don't get too many.
Only so many heritage beans you can eat in a week.
No, you
That's not even true.
Heritage beans.
I don't have any avocado because I played Baldur's Gate yesterday instead of going to the store.
Yep.
Good choice.
Solid choice.
How far have you gotten? If not
Oh,
to
I'm
be too.
almost done with Act 2. I can feel
Right.
it.
No spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
I won't.
Well, since I already mentioned Minsk, he's voiced by Matt Mercer.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Who voices the miniature space hamster is the real question.
No comment. Yeah, I regret not playing with him, but that was over at that point. Need to finish his game.
You know, next playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what companions you ran through with.
I pretty much stuck with, God, I forgot. I was playing as a bard, and I had Will, just because warlock and short rest. You know, so you get an extra short rest as a bard. That helped. Then I played with the barbarian character, Carla.
Yeah.
Carla, and what was the last one I played with? Oh, Shadowheart.
Shadowheart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very good group. It worked very well for me, and I wanted to see their storylines and stuff. But I didn't realize like till halfway through that if you talk to certain people with them, you know, like the dialogue changes and some of the story stuff changes as well. But yeah, I'd be interested in playing through as one of their main characters to see how you could actually change those conversations.
Yeah, I'm excited to try that too.
So good though.
I also have some peppers if you want some peppers to be chopped up.
Oh, nice.
I'll put those tomatoes over here.
Cool. I will. You know what? It seems like as good a time as any.
I don't know that idea.
I don't know.
This does seem like a good place to leave ellipses, you know?
Mm.
Far away from everybody, let the
Look.
rot spread
No. We
to all
no.
the Samsarans
No.
and forever
No, we do not want
murder.
that at all.
an entire species.
You know.
And then send attack vessels
Yep.
to a planet full of spores.
Nothing bad could ever
Nothing
happen.
bad.
What could go wrong?
Mushrooms are amazing.
You could be exiled there just a little while.
He's our own little natural disaster waiting to happen.
We do like having those around.
Yep. I don't know. Is he infectious?
Yes.
Can anybody else catch the rot?
I would assume
Yes.
so.
Everything can catch the rot.
I thought just Ray. He's susceptible.
What we know of it.
According to the rot, it will eventually consume metal and stone.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows that would never happen.
But that might just be rot propaganda.
I'm fairly certain.
Not something we've actually seen at all.
I've been playing this game for a long time. And I have not. We haven't been playing this game for a long time, by the way.
Let's do it.
I'm constantly amazed at that fact. Every time I'm like talking to someone, I'm like, oh, I play D&D every Sunday. How long have you been doing that? Fuck.
30 long years.
Forever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been like a week in game, so.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
People are like, yeah, but the max level is 20 and we're 16. I'm like, that means nothing.
We're almost demigods.
Yeah.
I think we started at 10, didn't we?
Yeah.
Mark was like,
We
none of this
decided-
mid-game BS.
We decided, well, a lot of meetings, we decided, oh, we're playing low level games all the time. Who's ever played a higher level game? My boy. Did I
Now
have to
you
learn a
know
lot?
why.
This game's hard to balance.
Impossible to predict.
Doing things.
Oh yeah.
Over here, there's a paper towel.
That's fine.
I would say at least a short
Checking
rest
out
is
your
in
name
order
clips.
as well.
Yeah. A short rest. We should return our trajectory, and then maybe we can get a long rest
Mm-hmm.
soon.
Yeah, so, we can, until we decide we're really ready, we can keep this pretty, informal. But yeah, like, what do you guys, as Zero and Vitaria have expressed their plan to go to the helm, are you guys all going with them? Some of you staying here in the comms array? What's the plan here moving forward?
How many Samsarian are still... Oh, wait. They didn't do anything. They just take credit for the mountain.
What?
No. I mean, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but also, yeah, I mean, you don't know all the
Like Kyria told us they built it.
they were the engineers and designers of the mountain. You guys have also learned
Bits
at
and
like, at the same sort of like era, this hazy period of time, collectively known as the collapse, where, the remnants of civilization were struggling against the darkness and collapse of civilizations. They're, basically their most fundamental source of power and stuff just went away. There was a period where, there were, you've learned about the Arcanomancer's hegemony. And that time, the dominant powers at least some point in this period were these immensely powerful, like, sorcerer kings of some kind.
Ethically questionable sorcerer king.
Yeah, totally. And it seems that, the Panopticon Atlas, or not Atlas, but the Panopticon network was, it seems at least like, maybe restarted by them.
Restarted.
If it was not like, if the potential, because like obviously it's, what you guys have learned from Mount Inaru is that like, this stuff is dependent on the divine voice, the divine power to activate in some cases. So clearly, like, it was intended to, it is at least using technology or techniques that were, it was using things that were intended to take advantage of power that was no longer there in ready supply at the very least. So there's like obviously in that respect, I guess is what I'm saying, that there's it has at least some connection to the Arcanomancer's hegemony, and more and less directly to, what the divine power that was existing and was fading away rapidly at the beginning of the collapse, and then.
So there were two periods of history that had major powers. There was the pre-collapse divinity, and then after that there's the Arcanomancers, and they fell as well.
Yeah, so the collapse, like, really, because the history on it is so minimal, because of some other things you've also learned about, some entities that have been erasing, themselves and some things from the world. You guys have learned about that, which we can also talk about if we've forgotten some details of what I'm referring to.
There's got a word for it.
But so the collapse just kind of refers to this, like, semi-anarchic and period just embroiled in the vestiges of the previous, like, way of life and power being, used and manipulated and stuff. That, like, the last vestiges of people, like, trying to like use the last bits of that fading magic and power. So, like, the Arcanomancer Hegemony was like, yeah, these sorcerer kings were able to collect a lot of power onto themselves by various weird, you don't really know means, and were able to use that power to, like, create an empire in the ashes of what was there before for some period before they too fell into, as everything that was left over from that, the pre-collapse period, all just eventually fell into entropy or destruction. As in some cases, like, there are some good things that they did, like, you've also heard that the Arcanomancer's Hegemony and stuff, and, like, those sorts of powers, like, they were also the ones that shut away. Oh wait, did you learn? I think you might have learned this in the one shot on the cruise ship, where in Scophia Scar, how, like, the celebration was like, yeah, the gods left, but we bound the last primal, like, monstrosity. Yeah. We did this, and so, like, that was the whole bit there. So, like, some of the things that, like, humanity or, like, the mortality, mortal peoples did with those scraps and remnants of power, in some cases was good, in some cases was probably brutal and monstrous. But, like, the collapse kind of just is a way of just kind of referring to that whole kind of chaotic and unknown and this unknown period of time as various groups were scrabbling for power and trying to, as they all want to do, just,
So in that case, how many of the Sunsarin are awake right now?
In this chamber, only the one that was birthed quickly in the midst of your last fight. That malformed creature was not slain and is still here. The others, that this, to your surprise, last session you found that power had been restored to the Kanzare, and you had learned that was due to Vitaria staying here, but the Samsarans going out to work their technical magic and hacking the system.
Because we couldn't think of that
Because
as a thing that would happen.
Well,
Because why wouldn't she go by herself? Anyways.
no, but I think the assumption was because they need divine power.
Mhm.
So however they're getting it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
So what you kind of learned is that the Samsarans, while not having the ability to turn the key, have had thousands of years finding all the ways to make this mountain do what they need it to or can make it.
Kind of like the way Beep Boop was able to make
They-
the elevator.
Exactly.
They already knew how to hotwire
Yeah.
this.
And now the mountain is, the keys, it's on the position, so all they have to do is, like, redirect power, like, they need to just manipulate systems like they've learned so well to do, as they design the whole
Because-
damn thing.
Because of what Quilla did to Mountain on.
No,
Or
what you
just-
did was just you spilled your divine blood to gain access to the
Okay.
controls of the mountain. What
Okay, that makes
Vitaria
sense.
did to with her divine voice to turn the mountain back on, so the
Okay.
Samsarans could actually use it correctly again.
Okay.
Because
cool.
they've been like,
That makes
like the
more sense.
mountain's been like in this, like, like kind of pitiful sort of like emergency power only sort of state, and the Samsarans have been, presumably they're just like struggling to like maintain it in some way over the long millennia. Now that Vitaria returned and was able to turn the power back on, they're like, let's do this.
Do we know
And
if
so
it
that began
uses-
the.
Sorry. Do we know if it uses more Zephyr in this
Oh,
state?
in active state for sure. Yeah,
sure,
it's
okay.
definitely consuming more power.
Okay.
You would assume, and you
Mhm.
have a very high confidence from what you guys have learned
It's
so
not like
far.
some other kind of stone that powers that part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I do want Togatot, so I might venture on shipping and find Togatots, because we have to find out as much about those Encheidamonts as possible.
I'm going to ask Shippy and Vitaria if we can update the Panopticon Atlas that we have.
That
to
sounds smart.
Show more.
Last session, you may recall, Shippy was able to connect to Mount
yeah.
Inaru's system and contact you and speak to you guys. So that may still be potential if you want to relay a message without having to journey all the way and do it over. But do whatever you want, of course. I just want to make sure that you guys know what your choices are.
Oh, how's Togatots gonna get here?
The elevator.
Mm-hmm.
Shippy, can you hear me? Vitaria, how do I use the communications?
Well, this power has been returned to the communications array, so you should just be able to activate the systems again and then speak your command, and the mountain should hear you.
Last time I tried to use one of those panels, it didn't work, and she had to cut herself a lot.
Well, I'm sure
You see Quilla walking in.
Nazira and I can
Little bit.
help you through the proper channels this time.
Can you just tell Shippy to send Togatots up?
Yeah, I'll extend it to
Arya is
To
like
Vitaria.
striding over to the control panel, and she once again, you remember the control panel is like up on the ceiling of this chamber. The one thing's kind of like oriented differently. Vitaria goes to the nearest, like climbs the nearest part, and then just climbs up the wall with some sort of spider climb like ability, and then just goes up. So she's like ends up standing at the panel, hair just kind of falling down towards you all, and she with just a few gestures and some words, the panel comes to life again and shows some activity. Some of the like controls once again kind of like materializing out of its space. And said, this gives you a little nod, Nazira.
All right, Shippy.
Hi there.
Hello.
It's great to hear from you. I'm glad to hear once again that you are not all dead.
And it's great to hear from you too.
There was some weird psychic energy there for a minute.
Sorry, that was, yeah. Oh, you weren't talking about that. Thanks.
No, I think I am. It was kind of similar. There was a brief period, a burst of energy. I'm far enough away this time that it didn't feel like I was dying, so that was nice.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh. Is Togatot still there?
he sure is.
Can you send him up? Down. Can you
Around.
send him to the communications ray?
Of course. He's asking for confirmation that we are no longer concerned about abominations on the exterior of the mountain.
Correct.
All right.
There's
Wait, when were there abominations on the exterior of the mountain?
He's been on careful watch since you guys left.
Has
When
he-
did? Oh,
Has
sorry.
he seen any abominations?
No.
Oh, yeah, we're not worried about it. And tell him not to shoot anything on his way up unless his life is threatened.
Togatots is asking how he should proceed. Where is the place you're telling him to go?
Oh, God.
Redacted.
That
Yeah.
might be one of the
Tell him how to
funniest
use
things
the
Gray's
elevator.
ever said.
Can we upload or can we send the schematics somehow? If Shippy can receive information from this, maybe
Potentially.
we can find some way to send these schematics.
I don't know if you're talking to me directly anymore because you're referring to me in the third person to
I
each other.
apologize, Shippy. We have a sort of pageless book that has the schematics of this place. Are you?
Gray's gonna love that.
He
We
knows
would
us so well.
like to send those schematics to you so you can perhaps show Togotots where to go.
Or, you know, if Noose or Johan is still there, they know the way. They could show him to
That's
the
true.
elevator.
Yeah, I forgot. That's probably
Both work though.
That's
You-
easier.
you-
Uh-huh. They can also keep him in check.
oh. Johan can bring him up.
You're Johan, give the affirmative, take Togotots to the elevator at the very least. Do you want? Go ahead.
Oh, and Chippy, are you able to update the Panopticon Atlas?
The Panopticon Atlas is always updating with what it can sense around itself, but if we want to
With the
update it
Panop-
further, we need to connect fully to the Panopticon network.
Are you able to connect fully to the Panopticon network
No.
from here? Interesting. All right.
Well, I can from where I am, but not where the mountain is.
Wait,
How do you mean?
what?
I've connected to the mountain,
Mhm.
Ah.
but the mountain is not in the right place to connect to the Panopticon network.
Ah. Where is it? Oh, it's gotta go up. That's
Yes.
kind of what we just stopped.
Yeah, we were going to.
We stopped that.
And I think that was the next plan to put it back into place.
That's you. That's your job. You're supposed to be at the helm.
Yes, that's
Yes, we can start walking and talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll head back.
I'm
Take the
staying
elevator back
here.
to the.
You're gonna stay in the comms?
Yeah. Always
Go
separate
to
the party.
helm and
Yeah.
start it back on its course.
Cool, I'll go with you just to kind of see what's going on. She's also looking
Are you all right,
rough
Quilla?
still. I felt better, but I'm holding on okay. As long as we don't get in another fight today, I should be alright.
Very tired. Want rest.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all are. I'm gonna be working on this little doodads I found.
The tools?
The half-finished projects that were.
In the
Yeah.
living furniture chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Quilla, did you find any of the other keystones I asked you to keep an eye out for? While you
Where?
weren't here?
In the storage
The
area.
storage
Yeah.
area.
No, there was just Zephyr,
Just Zephyr.
Zephyr and Bellstone.
Okay.
There were large chunks of Bellstone that were also being refined into the control rods that you saw in the engine chamber.
Okay. Just Zephyr and Bellstone. Lots of each of those. Make sure we have enough of both on Shippy for a while for what we need to do.
Yeah, I'll say that just because you guys would have wanted to bring at least some, regardless of the decision that you came
Right.
to. You guys can add 10 pounds of raw Zephyr to the inventory.
I got it.
And how much refined Zephyr?
3 capsules of refined Zephyr.
We only had 1 pound. Jesus.
Yeah, you guys had spent some. You were running low. But you know that from what you've seen of the kind of engine room of Mount Ainaru, and you can find these these canisters that have what look to be like ferrules, they look like they're metal parts on either ends, but there's a glass or some other clear or transparent material allowing you to see this swirling storm of bright electric yellow clouds with still even despite that brightness, so dark stormy parts where it's just so dense light doesn't get through, so it's this whole thing going on there.
Canned lightning.
It seems to be you've seen this Zephyr when it's actually activated or trying to expand and consume things. This is Zephyr that is in the process or has done that, it's in some weird semi-activated or something state that allows it to be more potential packed into some space or something, as opposed to the solid and more safe solid crystalline structures that are more naturally occurring. So you found 3 of those, or took 3 of those. You found that there are only 5 more that you've left, so 8 total, and you've taken 3
Okay.
back to Shippy. you don't know exactly like what the exchange ratio is for those at this moment, but you would also have gleaned from just judging from the like machinery and stuff and like the raw input versus like what you're seeing come out of it. It's probably like 100 to 1 or something. Like the amount of like Bell's or Zephyr like that is just condensed and compacted into this space somehow.
Cool.
So those 3 are probably
Like 300 pounds of
300
raw Zephyr.
equivalent to maybe in the ballpark of like 300 pounds of Zephyr.
Those are the
Wow.
capsules.
Like 100 pounds each.
Ooh. It's a lot of Zephyr.
And this place had other like docks, right, for ships, or like shippy.
Quilla can answer that question as well, give some insight in that question, and found that Shippy found one of the like flew into one of like the most centrally located one of those like like what amounts to like a dock or something, like this immense like harbor in the bottom of the mountain, where it was because it was cut from the world, and like these were like the places where it was kind of like left, like the last places it was like left to solidly rest on the world before it was all like lifted off. But that's now like some utility access and things, but it doesn't have like a big like dock for a lot of like ships or something. It's not like a shipyard per se, but like Shippy was able to find a place to like seek refuge and like connect to the mountain and stuff.
It's a pretty informal harbor kind of.
Yeah, like this wasn't you don't get the impression, Quilla, that like from what you've seen that this was intended to like house a fleet or anything like that. It could probably like help out with a handful of ships if they needed to. And even more if they really like were just like roughing it, just like through some little ropes and like connecting to the mountain, like whatever.
Yeah.
But like it's not a big shipyard per se. It was meant to, from what you can tell, to be a stationary like place, and not that there's a lot of, even then you don't get the impression there was a lot of space traffic coming and going that they would be seeing to.
Where did the Samsarin get their Zephyr from?
It might have been like if they had a big operation like mining and storing Zephyr.
Hey, baby Samsarin that we've left alive.
Yeah, so you guys have, let's say that's when you guys have kind of split. Who's going to the Howling and who's staying back? 2 and 2 or 1 and 3?
Let's do 2 and 2, just to stay safe. We're able to keep an eye on things with beep beep.
As they've left, walking quickly back to the elevator to make their way to the helm. You 2 stay back. You see the quivering and movement of the cocoons has kind of ceased. It doesn't seem like they're you saw that quivering in motion as it was beginning to like birth out this malformed body. It seems to have calmed. The Samsarin that was in there, it's like gone, and like it's like looks like it's like tending to or like seeing how bad the damage is to the cocoons. And it's kind of assessing all that. Xerox now having disappeared, but their work still speaking for her in her absence.
Volumes.
Gray's like trying to put some of the shelves back together, like Gray fix.
They're just about their own business. What do you ask?
Do you know where the Zephyr came from?
It was not once so rare.
In the mountain?
Across the world. Before the collapse, it could almost as easily walk to the plane of air as any other place.
Really?
So it's said.
Oh. So
you've had it since the collapse, or just so happened to be in Aimaru and you turned it into a ship? Not you specifically, but
Samsarans were once not only here in the mountain. We served many of the Arcanomancers. We were sought out for our expertise. But when we discovered the potential of Mount Aimaru, most of us came.
against the will of the Arcanomancers, or were they involved?
They are always more interested in their own squabbles for power and vain projects. And none of them were as smart as us.
Clearly, they're dead.
We did what we pursued our own goals beneath their noses, as they were more interested in appearance among and between themselves, and accumulations of vulgar power. We've, I'm sure, collected, bartered, stole, acquired, or the Arcanomancer did, much of the Zephyr that is now in Aimaru.
And I see. And these Arcanomancers, what can you tell me about them? I've only heard of the Great Redacted and the Tide Redacted, and I'm trying to find more of my kind.
Your kind.
There's one more here.
Kind were once plentiful. Came in many stripes, many varieties, depending on who or to what purpose, what intent put you in that form. Some were made in cruel fashion, and some were as miraculous as a newborn life.
We are wonderful.
But you are.
Do you ever work on any of us?
Me, no. It's a subsystem specialist.
But they just left us here. My friend was left to kill.
Aberrations?
Abominations. I mean, it doesn't seem like we have much purpose.
Is it not a noble purpose to defend those who cannot defend themselves?
I mean, it seems like he was forced to bond with a robot and his soul was trapped there, not... You know, this free will thought of being able to control your own life, that seems kind of weird when your soul is apparently forced into a mechanical being.
Do you know you were forced?
To tell you the truth, no.
Some of those that labored in the work of this mountain were forced into their form. Some have chosen such useful bodies for their own purposes, for their own ends, of their own volition. Their pauses and they seem just kind of lost in thought and memory for some time. You've been around enough Sincerans to know that this could be moments or hours. Moments just pass on and drag as they're just, their eyes are just still open but just kind of slack as they're just adrift in some memory or something. It's memories. That life is so long ago. I'm finding it difficult to remember certain things. But I would answer any questions you have. It is important to know where one came from, to know who you are and what you may be.
That's a generous offer. I'll have to think of some questions.
I remember some volunteered for service or swore an oath that their service wouldn't end with their death until an oath was fulfilled. That was, I think many lives were saved by those that chose that path. The desperation drove them to it, but good came of it.
But what abominations would possibly swear to? Is the big problem?
They fought against something, they struggled. Even the Arcanomancers, for all their hatred of each other, knew that some threats were worth some amount of unity.
The rot?
No. It was a crawling thing in the dark.
The crawling darkness that put it in an egg? No. The unraveling?
Memories I have not sought for many years. I find them now vague. The purity of our next life will alleviate me of these troubles, I'm sure.
Feel your pain.
To be cut from one's own life just by the mere passage of time seems unfair. And to you, having lived as long as you have,
All 1 week.
but untold years beyond and behind that week,
That is.
and you were as
Very
separated from those memories and that life and that so much of yourself by that time, by that loss.
If only there were a way to unlock such memories.
I think there is. I don't know if you can join us though in our journey.
Journey where? To the
Beyond.
beyond. We kind of put a damper on that. Sorry.
It will come true in time. I believe that we will find a way, I'm sure. I've struggled for so long. What's a little longer?
You have patience. What about any of your family that has previously worked on my kind?
What do
They might know how to unlock things now for those of us that are less patient.
It says, don't. I'm certain I can ask. I don't have access to them in this body. But if I return, I can ask. But are you sure that what is stopping you from remembering is mechanical?
I'm really not. But there's 2 robots and only I can't remember anything, and the other one has information locked away that he can't access. He'll be here in a bit.
I'll return to the others. Ask. If any of us have knowledge of you and your kind that might help, we can come out.
Also, if any of them know what these are for, I mean, I'm happy to keep tinkering, but
Yeah, looks at it as like, those are broken.
no, I understood that. But I didn't understand their purpose. I don't think it was to be broken.
No, certainly not. The one you have there is a apparition projector. It can be used to communicate.
Is that like the thing that she used? No, that was something else.
It works similarly to the technology integrated into the mountain, but it is a movable version of that sort of thing.
Could it be used at a distance?
Great distance, yes. It was. Its intent was to secure communications between planes.
Ooh. Between planes?
Yes.
I'm not there, but sorry. I was like, oh.
I said that and I like immediately looked to you, Sarah. It's like Sarah will get a kick out of that.
That seems useful.
There's a weird pustule that pops and off gassing.
You might want to get that looked at when you're. Again, sorry, we didn't mean to.
Do you know what a fractal is?
Only when they're frozen? No?
They occur in the natural and magical worlds on occasion when something can be, the smallest piece of it can be mapped out to the largest possible version of it in its expansiveness. It is the same in its largest and smallest components. The smallest piece contains the whole. We are a psychofract. Our minds have so intermingled and become one within each other that what was destroyed, while it has harmed us, has not destroyed any one of us. And in time, we can be what we were before. We can achieve that fulfillment again.
It's kind of like an individualized hive mind type of.
We share a psychic substrate that we all dance among and share all of ourselves throughout.
So you can never really die then.
Unless the substrate in its entirety is destroyed.
Then can you take any form?
No. We can only take forms that are familiar to our minds, but our ability to do that is always, it's always been somewhat challenging and prone to errors and flaws like you see in this flesh.
Do you need to be protected? What is the... I mean, you've lived a long time, I'm sure you're fine.
We will regrow what has been damaged in time, and we will be more comfortable again in ourselves when that has been healed.
Do you have to come from the cocoon?
Right now, my mind is split between its existence within the psychic substrate that me and the other Samsarans dwell in, and this body. There is a lessening of myself, or at least what I can focus on when I have this body in the world. When it returns, then I will be again free to dance with the other Samsarans among their memories and their consciousness and my own.
That's cool. Any chance any of you want to come along with us?
No.
I've never heard about your record.
We could put a cocoon on Shitty. That way you'd always
Remote
have
node.
opportunity.
We will remain together, sure. But I will extend the invitation.
Gray takes a cocoon and shoves it in his bag.
Gray.
Big bug.
You try and like grab one of these big, like it's like a, you know, like these, each of these like cocoon like sections, they're all like connected to the main like hive of it. So you're like trying to like pull, it's like stretching disgustingly in your hands. You're just like trying to like pull this thing out. It's just like pulling this like long like maggot or something. I don't know. It's like disgusting. It's
You
really
would
gross.
not be perturbed.
Yeah,
No, yeah,
no.
totally
Gray's like gnawing on his fingers.
Yeah, why don't you notice that it is like the cocoon that you're manipulating is has been growing more like rigid, like has more and more like a carapace or something. Like the exterior layer is like growing harder, and as you're like pulling it, like you've noticed that like I can't remember if you interacted with the cocoon itself in the last session, but so I can't tell. Yeah, do you remember?
I had picked up some like shells and stuff that were on the ground from one and gave
So-
it to.
Yeah, you found like you're talking about like the one that was
The
like
already
the desiccated
hatched,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. This like living cocoonery is like, yeah, you notice that it's like it's growing like harder, like this will be probably less viable for like harvesting silk from, because like the silk itself is sort of like hardening into some sort of like carapace or like strengthening its exterior or something. You're not sure if this is like something it does, or if it's healing itself, or if it's defending itself in response to recent bludgeonings, or or what's happening. But you do notice this sort of like change taking place.
Okay. He will be like picking up more scrap of silk to leave the boop. And maybe
Especially easy to do by like the I think like 2 or 3 of these large cocoon clumps that Xerox just swung through. Yeah, those are like you can easy to like pull apart and like harvest and stuff. It's definitely still wet and will need to be dried and cured, but that's not a great problem per se. Also,
we'll introduce a couple beetles to like help clean up some of the old stuff, and then some other bugs to kill the beetles, and then
it's a
a couple other
complex
bugs.
system.
Yeah, we'll throw out a couple.
The
of
last
bugs
one
out.
you eat.
Yeah. And for good luck.
Raise our ecosystem.
Top of the food chain.
Where you learn? How so smart? Go to school?
Yes, many years. We Samsarans think of ourselves as lifelong students. always in school, always seeking to better ourselves and our understanding of the world.
Get a job.
Use book? Use stone?
We did. Where we live now in our minds, we can imagine a book or a stone. And it's just as real to us as if it were here right now.
Great, imagine good.
Yes. Very good.
Maybe if Gray connects to the sensor and might
I was
be
just about to. Is it possible to go with you
Into the
Into-
psychic substrate?
to meet the others? This does sound like an interesting place. Apparently, I'm just a consciousness inside of a robot at the moment.
I'm sure you wouldn't be able to experience everything that we do, but something like that should be possible if you open yourself up to our psychic connection.
Can I take the little one with me?
You'll have to come inside.
Yeah. Can I take the little one with me?
Do you want to come inside as well?
Like book learn?
Come inside the cocoon.
Great idea.
Wasn't it?
I don't even know what your friend would like to learn or experience from this.
Here you go. See? Beep boop.
Safe. We can trust them.
We've never attempted this before, and we don't know what effects it may have upon you. It may not be safe at all.
Seems safe. I write a note for the others.
Excellent.
Can I quick save really quick?
I'm gonna quick restroom break.
Went to visit the neighbors in the cocoon.
We'll be back. Currently in a cocoon.
Uploading my consciousness.
Don't worry, I have a magical sword with me.
So what spells I still got left?
I surprisingly still have. I have a 4th level that I've been saving. Oh god, this is the most I've ever used. I hate it.
Because I missed that session, I haven't expended that many. I still have 1, 5, 2, 4, and 1, 3.
I have 3 spell slots left.
Wow.
Wow.
I have a 4th, a 3rd, and a 1st. This is the most I have ever used.
Wow.
I
You're
have
so low.
So against using spell slots because it scares me to all get out to use my resources, so I hoard them.
I'm like, we're on a mountain. We're not going to rest anytime soon. I don't think we're going to get any rest.
Mm-hmm.
All the more reason to
we
save your
could
spell
have-
slots.
Yeah. We can rest whenever we want, maybe now, sort of. Unless we go,
Yeah, we can rest whenever we want now.
unless we decide we're going to go into substrates without resting first.
Beat Boop does have a plan on
Oh.
casting Mordekainen's private sanctum wherever we do sleep because of the previous
Yeah.
issues with the what's her face showing up. The whispered
Oh,
litany.
nice.
I'm so brave like the other cowardly cats around here.
They're all cowardly.
I'm so brave. I mean, kind of brave. As he runs away from it.
So brave, kind of brave. Not brave.
Just finished Lord of the Rings too. Yeah, he's got that neurological issue where he's just like,
Yeah, he's real spaz.
yeah.
So like a ataxia or something? Like a,
It's kind of like cerebral palsy in humans a little
okay.
You give me
Motor
a
issue.
whiskey?
bit.
Well,
Yeah.
these are really green guys.
If-
The Pilsners or whatever it is.
If their mother gets a virus,
Uh-huh.
then the kittens can have that
Okay.
neurological problem.
friend that had a litter of like she did foster kittens, and one of them just had like a developmental delay with it, but then it grew out of it. But or, I don't know if it was the same thing, but something it was like one kitten had like no motor planning, like really struggled for quite a while, and then eventually sort of caught up. But maybe it won't be the it was just like it would try to follow and play it with its siblings, and it would like try to climb up things, and it would just like not be able to quite get the limbs in sync with each other enough to do it. It was really interesting to see that it was like I don't know, it was struggling, but it was so cute, and it did get there. It just worked through it.
Took it some time.
Yeah.
Some PT.
Yeah. Claire was like doing like little like I was like okay, like giving it little supports. Some kitty PT.
There we go.
So yeah, the Simsarin says to you, if you both wish to join us, allow me to go in first and ensure the others are prepared for your arrival. It will be interesting to have new minds. I'll go in, and if you see the cocoon open again, please join us.
Well, waiting on you. Yep.
They go up and they just like place their body against the cocoon. It begins to just kind of like dissolve and be absorbed into it again. A few minutes pass.
I send Bug first, and he grabs a beetle from his bag and sticks it on the cocoon.
If you said wait.
You two, right now to the helm.
It's a great
It
cut.
is a quick and not all that unfamiliar journey from here to the elevator. You follow this like winding ramp back up, avoiding the exertion of the climb up the ladder that you descended previously. We'll quickly find the elevator. Coming up to it, as you approach it, you feel just this kind of sort of like almost like a static or like some charge or something in the air as you approach the elevator. Is like the panel near on the door or the wall outside that previously had been the access point by which Beep-Boop had hacked the elevators. You can feel it just kind of like thrum online as at your approach.
This is much more convenient.
Yeah. Doesn't cost half a lifetime of blood. I like look at my hand. Yeah. Squeeze a couple little drips on for good measure.
I'll see if I can open the elevator with
Yeah.
my command.
Yeah, there's this intuitive thing. It seems like this divine connection and this arcanotech stuff seems to have some interaction with your intentions towards it, and you can feel it almost like draw your hand to the right the right control that's kind of sort of like materialize out of this panel, and the doors slide open and gain access to the elevator.
It's amazing to me that they built this whole place to rely on divine power to command it.
It does seem like an odd choice.
It's that kind of magic must have been very intertwined with day-to-day life back in
It does
the
seem like
labs area.
yeah.
There's no one else here to respond but you, so I
Yeah.
guess looking
Sorry,
And Victoria's here.
Victoria's
Oh, Victoria's here. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
That's true.
Yeah, thank you. I totally forgot Victoria was there with you.
Quill was looking at the cuts on her hands.
I've been so my thoughts are so filled with
Quill was also
Gray and Toga or Beep-Boop jumping into the Psycho Straight.
I do hope our friends aren't doing anything.
This is what happens when we send you two away. We do dumb
The
shit.
second you
No,
leave.
second we leave.
Should we go into the cocoon?
We're not doing anything right now.
Meanwhile,
They'll be fine, right? We can't mess anything up there. I'm sure.
Great life, just like doing things.
the elevated music plays.
Yeah, Daria says that before things changed, I'm sure they were making use of what was readily available. The elves, even before the collapse, or long before the collapse, we weren't even physical yet. We interacting with the world for us, well, to them must have been like glittering, dancing lights flitting in and out. We didn't suffer the same reality that they did. We were not affected by the world and forced to respond to it the way they were. It wasn't until time then was not as cleanly dictated as it is now. And our taking on of physical form is probably around the time of the collapse as they would have experienced it. Sure, people truly joined the world when it was beginning to face its end. Maybe that's appropriate for taking on the mantle of mortality in its way. In their hubris, the servants of the gods had no reason to doubt that they would always have access to that power, so why not make use of it everywhere?
What did bring about the collapse?
So you guys hop in the elevator and enjoying the couple minutes ride down to the Helms. You hear the ancient synth music playing softly. Victoria says it was never something Corlin was directly a part of. We elves didn't really become tied so much to the material plane until, well, all of that happened. From what I understand, the gods were concerned that their constant fighting and tensions with each other that often erupted into conflicts of immense power spilling into worlds that were not made to contain that much direct divine action. The material world is, well, as we know now, is much more stable when it has a safe distance from the gods and their machinations and their eternal wars and conflicts.
That's true. Makes sense.
I talked about the realms beyond briefly. You've expressed some curiosity into that strange and chaotic place. I said that some believe that that realm beyond predates our universe, the realms of the gods even. It was here perhaps before what we know as creation of existence, and was pushed aside or pressed out as our world was born in the crumbling ruins of theirs. But knowing what, asking the gods what came before them is a foolish question for most. Most are far too arrogant, I think, to answer that honestly. Wouldn't be. I've heard that some of the gods were afraid of what exists beyond their imaginings, afraid of that beyond seeping into our world. And as their struggles and their immense power stretched and creaked at the seams of our universe, they were more and more afraid that their actions would cause that border to break or become permeable. So it was decided by many of them, not all, that they should vacate the world and set it to a more natural state than the result of their constant interventions. Doors open. Familiar hallway before you tread this ground before, and you quickly make your way to the helm, where once again the noise of the spiraling, strange orrery of sorts surrounding this beam of zephyrus energy that manipulates and controls that beam and helps the mountain go where it wants to go.
Do you think we can flip it back over? Do you think we should?
I think we can orient it or whatever we should discuss, like what we want it to see.
Yeah, that's true.
But we can set course
to activate the panopticon or its
integration therein.
Okay. Do we know if there's any unintended consequences of activating this?
There's always unintended consequences, aren't there?
I guess. Are there any we should be prepared for?
Yeah.
Question something like that before doing something. God.
The one who already let out on the panel.
You're like over there, is there something we should check out?
Well, we know the panopticon was deactivated or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth trying to figure out if this will restore it.
Mm-hmm.
From what I was able to determine with the Samsaran's assistance is that the Panopticon network is at least still partially functioning, if in a sort of stasis or sleeping system. Returning Mount Ainaru to that system with power should wake up the Panopticon network.
That would be the hope, right?
The question is, we know from some of what information we have gathered is that there was a time in history where knowledge was erased to keep our world hidden from something. I suppose my concern would be that, and we know Shippy's memories have been redacted as well, so my concern would be that somehow that shutting down or putting the Panopticon into a low power mode and redacting things like Shippy's memories would be related to that somehow and might advertise our presence to whatever.
I hadn't concerned myself too much with. That is an interesting question. If someone was paying attention to our world and more importantly to the network, they would likely be able to tell if its global systems were activated again.
Is there a way to see who can see the network?
Some magic similar to those that protect from divination could at the very least tell us if someone was looking at it, but I wouldn't be able to activate such a magic on the scale of the network until we were already plugged in and had it activated. So we could determine if somebody had been watching us when we plugged it in, but I can't
Once
find out before
once it's on.
without knowing.
I mean, I
What
think
to
we
look for
probably need to
specifically.
activate it regardless, but it's good to.
Well, first things first, let's not hit the world below.
Yeah.
Victoria, easy for the controls, and you guys quickly.
No more
with
bloodshed, so lead the way.
Victoria and Azira stand at the controls, and between the two, you feel this sort of connection with the machinery and stuff, and like Victoria takes the lead, but you quickly see begin this like intuitive understanding of how this thing works, and it's this sort of like connection, psychic connection that's like not entirely dissimilar to like the connection you have with Shippy when you're flying them, where it's just like you're not really like I need to turn the steering wheel 50 degrees port. It's just like you just have this intuitive connection like yes, like, and even like the controls and stuff seem to adapt to who's using it and stuff. It just there's this like kind of psychic bridge that comes into play, and the two of you quickly gain control of the mountain. You can, even as you do this, you can like in the back of your mind, you can feel the fuel drain, the strain on the Zephyr drive to arrest the movement of the entire mountain and then redirect it again. Not that it's like in this moment about to run out of fuel or anything, but like just reinforce in your mind, like in your mind that it's just reinforced that like yes, we are flying an entire mountain.
Yeah, there's a big cost to this endeavor.
And I think as that twinge is in your mind, Victoria like catches your eye, and she says that perhaps on that same wavelength, she says that if the mountain is placed in the position in its orbit that I had intended for the Apoapsis Reverie, that is the position within the network that the mountain was designed for and should fall into and rest in.
So it wouldn't use more
Not
fuel
nearly
to-
as much. It would no longer be solely dependent on the Zephyr drive for its positioning, and would become much more stable.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll
And
get
again,
there.
we can of course point it down or up as you see fit. But is that the direction we should set?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like
What
look at the gashes on my arm that like took it out of that course. Okay.
What were those creature? What were they fighting when our companions when they got that sword that Bupno wields?
Yankee.
Do you remember?
I don't remember. I'm not sure if I was there.
You were the spider during that.
Yeah, you guys have
How
both
much did you
heard
guys
this. Yeah, you guys have. Yeah, you guys have all like you guys had that.
Like, what
days
was-
You
of
have
just,
heard
What
of the
was that
Tide
story
redacted.
thing? So you guys fought
Or
against
the
Lola knows
fight of
exactly
the
what's
gift.
going on. Carly has no idea.
So you guys fought against Yankee.
We fought the Gith.
Mm.
Saren, the Gith. One of the Gith.
Gith Simsaren.
Gith Well, there's Githyanki and then there's the other Githzerai, and I think we were fighting the
Yanks.
Yanks?
Yankee are the bad ones.
We were fighting the
Yankees,
Githyanki.
yeah.
So that means that.
You have met a Githzerai as well, but you've not fought.
But we don't trust him at this point.
Give you some
Githyanki
hints.
don't like him very much. He gave us some stuff a while ago.
Mhm.
But the other ones that came back for their sword were like, that guy's a douchebag.
But you're asking a question to the collective memory?
Yes. Like, and why? Why? Okay, because I think, because what I just want to make sure I'm not metagaming. Something to do with the illithid and some
The
sort
unraveling?
of thing in the moon.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
Uh oh, your battery's running low. Where's your charger?
Oh
Is it not
no!
plugged in on the way? Did that fix it? This was a little pulled out.
No, it still says it's running low.
Oh, it's also not plugged in.
Oh.
You do it?
It would help if this was plugged in.
The Githyanki you guys were in a race against the Githyanki to retrieve the ship, which turned out to be Shippy.
Yeah.
That's where you guys kind of crossed paths with them because
that
some
was a
rogue
while ago.
dwarves had
But we
basically sold Shippy illegally to these Yankee.
But we ran across them again, and I think that's what you were talking about when they were
Mm.
telling us about the illithid.
Yeah.
That was when their ship.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we killed the mind flayer.
Fought a couple small mind flayer vessels.
Yep.
And also were joined in that battle by the Githyanki and
Mm-hmm.
had a little showdown with them.
The deep mind unraveling. Wait.
And it had something to do with the moon?
That's
Question
where
mark?
the deep mind is potentially. It was.
Hmm.
Well, it was an egg that was taken into space by Shippy
Right.
and placed it there, and eventually it's going to hatch and all hell will break loose.
I'm gonna fill Vitaria on this situation.
Did I state all of that correctly?
I mean,
More or less.
Vitaria,
Just
are
because,
you?
like, I know that, like, illithid are space things, I think.
Yeah.
So that could be, like, one possibility. Some of reasons they tried to erase things. That could be something that's, like, if there's a greater illithid empire out there that's trying to look for tasty brains to harvest or something.
Yeah.
And does this mountain have a way to defend itself
Yeah, does the Panopticon have any defenses?
once we activate?
Yeah. So, can you clarify for me what you're asking, so I don't just talk forever?
Tell me all the information.
No, stop forever.
Naziro's concern, of course, is activating the Panopticon will be like a beacon out saying that, hey, we're smart again. Come feed on us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess what she wants to know is, like, do the illithid, like, was that what people were running from or race things for, or was it something else? And like, how much danger she's trying to assess how much danger activating the Panopticon is going to be.
Vitaria says, did you say the deep mind? Illithid deep mind?
On
Yes.
Ratha.
That such a creature could certainly be watching the network, and Mount Ainaru itself, though shielded psychically because of the Samsarans, what purpose they've made of the mountain. But the Panopticon network utilizes some psychic network and some magic related to that, and if such a creature is watching us, and it is not beyond the realm of possibility that activating the network could alert it if that is significant to such a creature, I'm not sure. What ends did the Githyanki say it had?
What ends did the Githyanki say it had?
They were going after the deep mine. They were in a constant battle trying to.
Do they know what it was trying to do though?
Yeah, what was the deep mine's goal, I guess, is Vitaria's question.
Eat brains, conquer the world.
Domination.
I don't think they
You,
ever
you
told
talked- you mentioned it earlier, like the deep mine's, you
Mhm.
talked about the egg.
Yeah.
That has
So
been the deep mine's plan for a very long time.
The ability
Wait,
to
is it
recall
like-
things is due to the deep mind. That's why we can't remember things, is because of it. It brought the egg, it tricked everybody into taking it into space, and then it wiped everybody's memory of.
It
That.
wiped everyone's memory. The deep mind wiped everyone's memory?
That's what my notes say. Yes.
What?
And then the Illithid are basically doing what it wants. And I think the Deep Mind already knows about us. It's part of the buzz that's already in the Panopticon Atlas, and it is constantly watching whenever we're accessing it.
Deep mind is in the Panopticon Atlas?
Right notes here say a buzz in the Panopticon network. The Deep Mind knows of us. It will come for us. Those are words that are already said.
That feels ominous.
Things a little bit.
Oh boy.
So is the egg the deep mind's baby? This is like trying to make another deep mind?
I don't think we know that much about
Okay.
it. We just know that the egg is basically the crawling darkness that they captured and put in the egg.
Okay, okay.
That was
Okay.
in Scofia Scar, was ripped into the heavens,
Straight
which was
to
a bad
Victoria.
idea. And you know all of this because we talked about it. And you were there.
I believe the Githyanki that we ran into after the Nautilus had said that they were going to go kill the mind or whatever, deep mind.
They were searching for it. They
Yeah,
don't
and then
know
they
what
would
it
come and
was.
help us with our little ordeal.
No, they said
They strictly
that.
said that they wouldn't do that.
If we joined them to help them, then they would join us to
Ah.
help us, if I recall correctly. Which would make me believe that the deep mind isn't inside the moon, but it must be something else.
No, so it sounds like the crawler egg is inside the moon.
Yeah.
The deep mind is in the Panopticon /
Space.
What the Githyanki, I'll just cut
Slash.
through some of this. The Githyanki described that the Illithid have a colony in your solar system somewhere.
Okay.
Its base, its like main location is where the deep mind resides, which is what they're trying to find, and that is hiding itself in the dark of space while it watches and waits and plans and thinks with its big brain. It has been doing and working in your world for gods knows how long enough, at least stretching back into the collapse, when it influenced the world enough, just nudging things here and there perhaps, to point their mighty Panopticon network not down and around, but out into the realms beyond their world, where they spied a perfect solution to their problem of a ancient primeval crawling around in the world, wreaking havoc. They bound the crawling darkness in this moon that they found at the edge of their system. All they had to do was poke a small little hole in the silver shield, the diamond shell around the system to gain access. Pull the moon back in, throw the bad monster inside it, and then get ready to send it away. And then didn't quite go to plan, it seems. The moon still shows up every once in a while, and what the Githyanki say is that it is not just a moon, but an egg.
That's no moon.
And whatever
Rapid
evil was
as
locked
egg.
inside it is growing and changing into something new.
There used to be rituals where a key and lock would come together.
Yeah.
But we don't know anything about that.
But it was
All
fucking
aboard
awesome.
The Infinite Dawn.
Infinite Toad.
It's so good.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, you at least have a strong suspicion that the deep minds, particularly like considering the like a lot of the information that has been stripped from entities like Shippy, has been like is like Shippy's experience. Like you've learned that Shippy was involved in some way, or like has some knowledge of like that expedition that brought the egg back to the world and stuff. So like the suspicion at this point at the very least is that the deep mind is behind the unraveling, which was this extraction or excisement of information from history, even affecting the dwarves and their sacred and ancient scribing of their history on stone itself, that it may stand the test of the ages. And even those sacred historical stones had been stripped, or at least that's what your dwarven friend from oh my goodness, what's it called?
I wonder if it's also why the Samsarans can't remember things.
Cragspire, Cragstone Hearth.
Christ.
Yeah. What did you
What?
say, Joe?
I wonder if it's also why the Samsarans can't remember things from that specific time period.
That's a good idea that I never had.
Look, right, what we gotta do, build the Samsarans into our psychic fighting force. Let them transcend, but then they can take the fight to the far rim.
Send them forth. Yeah, why don't the two of you give me well, first, Quilla, what are you doing while Vitaria and Nazira are, actually working the helm?
I'm gonna be looking around to see if I notice anything different or if anything's changed since the power's back on. And I'm trying to get a sense of whether or not, if we have a good feeling of whether we should keep it with this upside down orientation or if we should flip it. I'm trying to figure out if there's any advantage to that, and I would share that with Nazira. Just what's the advantage to keeping it oriented upside down?
Okay. Yeah, why don't you just give me an investigation check where you're just kind of like figuring out what you can and like thinking through these problems here in this time.
A natural one.
Not great.
No. But I mean, I'm really distracted by my pounding headache.
Maybe you should just sit down for a little while.
You said investigation. Yeah, it's a natural one.
It
with wobble.
There's nothing in this space like with the helm works in ways you struggle to even understand. Like you see these like immense shapes and segments and things like spiraling around this immense column of energy. Like I don't know. It's like answer the questions I'm worried about with this context. Yeah. This isn't helping. So you're just kind of like left like looking around for anything that like kind of like is interesting or like catches your notice, but you're mostly just mulling the stuff over in your head. For what you can kind of just think, like you don't know of any like mechanical difference as far as the mountain goes, as pointing it one way or the other. It really just seems how you if you do want to plug the mountain into the whole network. And then if you do that, where do you want the mountain to be, looking? So yeah, in this engine room, you just feel a little lightheaded, a little woozy, and
the spinning.
Yeah, just like feeling your head just kind of like go around with the shapes above. But yeah, it's kind of just left to your own thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, I think as I get dizzier and dizzier, I'd probably also eventually shift to sort of just thinking inward about like seeing like my blood still like splattered on the floor, thinking about like
that was down at the engine room, so you can't
that's
see it.
right,
Yeah.
with the helm, not the engine room. That's right.
She can see it in her mind's eye.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Just thinking about it and like thinking about my patron and my history and just sort of like pondering those things. and like, you know, this idea of being in space and Ratha and like thinking about all these things that they're talking about, and like thinking about my patron and this history and like what were we trying to do out at sea, and like really kind of like lost in muddled thoughts about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nazira, so you have this connection to the mountain and its controls as you are like interacting with this control panel, and is there anything that you are, aside from actually just, you know, controlling the mountain and getting it on its course, is there anything that you are trying to do or focusing on in this time?
Reactivate the library, obviously. But yeah, mostly I'm just weighing the odds of increasing danger to our society. Also feeling like a chump for believing the deep mind's lies, apparently.
Which lines?
Oh, because I didn't realize that the deep mind had been what had erased everything. I thought it was like someone on our side who had erased everything, because they were like, no, we gotta hide. So I was under.
It's because the dwarfs were like, don't go thinking about knowledge, and they also hid some knowledge away from us. They just.
Yeah. And you know.
And you were all like,
second,
don't listen to the dwarves. Don't let Shippy. Beep Boop is there to tell you.
See? Always listen to Beep Boop.
Always listen to robots.
Listen to the robots.
Dive into cocoons.
That was actually some
Remember
really,
all knowledge.
I thought that was really fun that we had a little argument about
That
those
was,
yeah, you once the mountain is its fall is arrested and you turn its movement to it sounds like the location of the, you know, what was to be the Apoapsis Reverie, which is really just the kind of geosynchronous place in orbit that it was supposed to set in to connect with.
But I don't think I want to fully connect yet.
Okay. Yeah, you tell the system effectively just to not like activate, to not like do anything to connect anything outside of itself, and it just goes into, you know, whatever mode that is, where it's just, you know, maintaining internal stuff but not connecting to the upgrading network, should it be able to. With the access you have to the system now, it seems that even without like Sam Saren's like technical knowledge of this thing, it has this intuitive control, and you just ask the system to do what you wish it to do, and it does that largely. Good. Give me with your thoughts where they are. Why don't you give me an insight check?
Insight check. Okay.
It's not a bad roll.
It's not. Insight plus 0. 13.
Yeah, it's, you know, you tell the system to send, you know, power to the library, and you like feel the like flow of energy in that direction. You feel those systems like turning on and coming to life, and those like almost like those like just like senses, almost like eyes opening, but like into a dim room in the back of your mind or something. But yeah, the library is activated.
Should be. Wait. I'm gonna look at a random book in the library to see if it's also been erased.
Oh,
Smart.
yeah, you
Before I have should be download.
All
Yeah.
the empty books.
I didn't think, I'm just thinking through, how does accessing this, the library for this system actually function?
And I have the tablet, which I know can access it, which is how I learned about it.
Yeah, you feel like you're, you know, when you're connected to this system through, you know, your divinity in this way, like you feel like your mind, you feel like you're walking down the tunnel to the library, but it is, you're just standing here in the space, but you feel in your mind you're like you're going into this place, and you know, you can feel you're this like version of yourself almost like enter this room, and you're instantly surrounded by this like immense like stacked tall chamber, where not books but like what seem to be like just immense, like they look almost like scroll cases or something, but just like this immense stack of just like hundreds and thousands upon thousands of these things. There is a certain order to this. You can certainly tell that in that script you can't read, you know, throughout this place, you see in your mind's eye just like this organizational scheme that is like set throughout this place. So you'd have to like go into the system, like find the book you want, that would give you the code, and that would tell you where it is in this actual physical space. You know, like Dewey Decimal sort of thing. But you in your mind's eye, you can also like just intuitively like translate that stuff as you're connected to the system, and like you can tell that there are different ways to like filter through the information in the library from like restricted and technical schematics and stuff, and just repair maintenance and stuff for the mountain itself. And then there's like this entire immense library of what was used for the education of the new studies, like the apprentice Samsarans and stuff. There's like this whole like subsection for like educational materials for them. There's like this whole subsection for like research materials for the Samsarans and their different projects and stuff. And there's like just various like branches or like like organizational clusters of all this information, and it is utterly immense. It is such an accumulation of knowledge that your mind just swims at the thought of, and that is even with your experience of the infinite library. And there's something about this and like the organizational structure that like is somewhat almost like reminiscent of that. It's just that like sort of not how the infinite library is like this like infinite expanse of just like this like winding and curving space. There's perhaps like someone else who's been to that space drew inspiration from it to design this library. But the volume of information here is just utterly breathtaking, and for Nazira, I'm sure very exciting.
No, very exciting.
Yeah.
Feel the excitement, just.
And the books are intact.
Yeah, you would have to go through like individual like contents, which like you can in this space it would be kind of a weird way of like almost like dream state reading if you were to like access any individual like contents. But you can you'd have to like scan it. It's like information that's been erased by the unraveling has been surgical in its precision of its removal of certain information. So you're not sure if it did affect this library, if it affected it selectively, or just cut entire swaths out of it, or how it in fact would take further investigation.
Okay. Vitaria, have you ever heard of the Darkstar Prince?
Good question.
Darkstar Prince was an entity, servant of some of the gods.
What?
That betrayed them utterly.
Ooh.
And that was the name it was given after that betrayal.
Do you know his name before that?
This all happened maybe even before the collapse and before the elves truly began engaging with the rest of creation. These are all just stories, not an experience I had. We'll try and remember. There is more in the back of my mind, I'm sure. When you've been alive as long as I have, some things start to blend together a bit.
Some things feel very blended right now. Like it all leans against the wall.
Bleeding everywhere.
What about the old unreliable?
Pardon me?
So, I found this tablet, and it has an email, which is a word I just
You
invented.
got mail.
It's like magical. Anyway, evocation mail.
Ah. Evok mail.
Sounds dangerous.
From
From the student.
And it said that the people here were, the ruling council here was meeting with an elven queen who had ties to the old unreliable.
Stall.
Yeah. And it seemed to be right on that verge of collapse when this was sent and written.
Victoria's is old, unreliable. I have no idea.
Really? Was it what it was actually called?
Yeah.
Okay.
It referred to their connection.
Old
The
unreliable.
Elven Queen is counseling with them. She said she had some connection left to the old unreliable and could help. That's what I heard anyway.
Interesting. Do you know if the Samsarans have found any other planar keystones here?
Just let me get us everywhere.
I don't know. I know that
I think they'd be the most familiar with this.
assessing the planes has never been their interest. They arrived at their intention in an age when crossing between the planes was far more common than it is now, and would not have been a goal worth striving for to them.
I ask because I assume they're the most familiar with the mountain and what it contains, and it's.
If they have, I have not asked that of them. It's also possible that some fragments of other keystones are left in the mountain. The mountain was home to many, ancient people who had access to more things than you do now. May not have been so uncommon for someone to have perhaps a piece of jewelry or some heirloom, or even upon some wizard's personal store to have some keystone perhaps, but I've not heard, the Samsarans have not told me of any great acquisition or resource they have. But their focus has been singular.
I'm gonna reach out to Shippy. Say, Shippy, can you connect to the library?
Hi there, I am noticing some new systems are accessible within the mountain. How exciting. I'm looking right now. Yep, I found the library. There's a lot of books in here.
There's a lot. Maybe see if you can download some of them.
I'm sure I can.
Yeah.
It'll take a little bellstone.
Okay. I'm sure we have some.
How much bellstone?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, and how much extra bellstone did I see in the storerooms on the mountain?
Oh, there was
And did I take some to Shippy too?
I don't think you guys took any bellstone because you guys already have such a significant store of it, and there isn't a huge amount on in the mountain.
Sure.
There are 24 of those like completed control rods,
Okay.
and each one of those is 2 pounds of bellstone. And then there's also in there just like storage, some like large chunks of bellstone, probably in the like hundreds of pounds.
Okay.
You have like
No.
I would like to see also how much power the library is eating up and whatever other systems came on with it.
It's not, you know, like, you know, you like accessing that, like, you can tell like the draw on the system comparatively to moving the mountain, almost nothing.
Okay.
Compared to Shippy, a substantial amount. Like it's you know, it's a huge library that like has, you know, like having constant access to that information throughout the mountain is adding some drain to the system. But yeah, it's, you know, it's not going to eat away the remaining fuel much faster than flying the mountain right now is.
We have 584 more pounds of Bellstone. Should my calculation be correct?
Should do you know
check
how much
check the blockchain.
That's what I'm checking right now. I'm
Only
literally
one call on the
doing that
blockchain.
right
There's multiple calls confirming.
I'm watching the gold. Not
How much did each of the upgrades cost? 200?
I think I wrote that down.
I think it was like 20,000 gold worth, so like 200, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Sounds right.
So that's about, because we got 2 upgrades. We had 1,000. 2 upgrades took us to about 600 pounds. We used 10 for some spell, and we lost another 6. Something.
Oh, we need more Bellstone.
Yeah, I had 584 pounds of Bellstone written down too.
Spell.
Double check.
Right.
We got it.
Yeah.
Power.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. 584 pounds.
Blockchain confirmed.
Yeah.
Did it.
So how much Bellstone should be?
I'm sorry, for what?
For the library to download it.
Oh,
Or at least a
it
part
says
of it.
it says I expect at least 5 pounds, but probably not more than twice that for high end.
Chump change.
All right.
That's fine.
Yeah. Tell Ellie to feed you 5
Alice.
some of the Bellstone. All the words.
And tell her to be careful not to die while doing it.
Ellie asked me to say, "Sure thing, Captain," and "No promises, Captain."
I like her enthusiasm.
I want to come back and more corpses.
That's so funny.
Some problem.
Did we bury them?
Give him a burial at,
Sky burial?
yeah,
Sky
just
burial?
throw him off the
There was talks of Johan and how to.
Yeah, we did. We
Johan
didn't
did a ceremony.
sky bury them.
Yeah, I
We
thought
laid them in a different room to deal with later after I cast Gentle Repose.
Aw.
they're no
Oh, I like yours too.
Oh, the cocoon.
Yeah.
Love that.
It's so good.
Ooh. Yeah.
Sufi says, "I've begun processing the library. It should take no more than an hour."
Wow,
Okay.
that's amazing, Shippy.
Thank you.
Quite impressive.
Yeah, that place is so big.
I wish I could take all the credit, but the mountain's doing most of the work.
It's a useful mountain.
But now we have to sit here for at least another hour so we can seed it for a bunch of other people. Otherwise, we feel like assholes.
How do you guys feel about a 5-minute break?
Yeah.
Sure.
I feel bad.
Make it a quick one.
Breaks for the
Oh. I want to ask Vitaria how they built the psychic shroud
Around the mountain?
around the mountain.
In and around.
Before I forget.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, which one going to be assimilated?
Good. Made me kind of happy.
It's a bat.
Not just a like
nonsensical, fanciful child.
Yeah, not just a
I
child.
know reality.
Well, not just
Didn't
a child
make this up.
avoiding bedtime because we had a guest, which was
Which I may also do at times, but not right now.
It was
I want to be
also
taken
very
seriously
good.
this time.
Yes, you need to take it seriously.
Cried wolf too many times.
Yeah. Oh, I did. I absolutely did.
My stomach there.
I need some water.
I need to watch the TV to sleep.
Yeah.
Even though you're watching the stupidest movie that is not entertaining at all to a child.
I would stay awake until my dad came to tell me goodnight because he would come to tell me goodnight when he went to bed at like 11 when I went to bed at like
Wow.
8. And so I would just stay awake waiting.
Yeah.
God, you're a patient child.
Well, I mean, I would definitely like get up or read or do.
Yeah. Just like some bed.
Yeah, wasn't just laying there waiting.
Yeah.
I was playing, being told to go to bed, being told to go to sleep. If he didn't come in early enough, I'd go out and get him. Yeah.
That's your bedtime, Dad.
And then if he didn't go to bed when he came in to say goodnight, I would go out and ask what he was watching. Like stay up.
Oh my God.
That was so annoying.
My children ever.
I didn't sleep well as a child.
As a child.
Yeah, well, as an adult. I still have sleep problems.
Alright.
What was I gonna ask?
I'm only recording once. We don't have to clap today. The odds of me going back through this and editing it are low. I appreciate it. Basically.
Yeah.
So I think we'll pause on this scene. We'll close this scene at the helm here.
Both red and green.
Absolutely.
For the moment. With Vitaria and Nazira ending their connection to the helm, having set in action the mountain, returning to its its spot. It's a spot in the network, which is in effectively like some sort of like geosynchronous orbit somewhere deep in the bone waste.
No, I wonder what the people on the surface are thinking.
Everybody's things about like fly up and there's like, oh no, it's coming this way. Oh, it's not.
20 eyes that shouldn't have
He's probably taking notes. Brilliant.
Adrian Leafstalker's like, that's not natural. Need another restoration, sir? Yeah, so we'll close there with you guys separating yourselves from the system. You feel this, it's like this like ghost sensation, ghost limb sensation for a little while as you disconnect and separate yourself and your mind from the mountain itself and this the system that controls it. Feeling just your body again. It was certainly strange, like being connected to that and feeling the power of the system and its intent and controls and magic being like diverted and flowed in so many different directions and put to so many different uses. The complexity of this, like similar to like a living circulatory system or something. But feeling that like it's impossible, it felt like, to like understand or like feel or be at least like mentally aware of all of those things like in their detail happening at once, and you found yourself having to like focus on different parts, this and that has that focus has been yours to direct, and that infinite like constellation of like impulses and things that you could interact with Nazira. Your focus had been on, of course, the library and just the basic controls of the system and all that, and connecting to Shippy. You failed to notice a draw of power. Meanwhile, the communications array.
Oh.
You find
Sorry, guys.
Beep Boop and Gray.
We're all gonna die.
You
Some
saw
faster
that
than others.
Sansaren. You can still see just like there's like a little patch where like there's some like silvery hair still like clinging and skin clinging to the back of the, up to the cocoon where this person's kind of like merged and melded themselves back into it. They've been gone for a minute or two, and then just like this with this kind of squelching as the cocoon separates to provide an access for you.
You ready, buddy?
Is safe?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Safe.
Gosh.
You guys clamber in together, the portal having stretched and kind of separated the exterior skin of the cocoon enough for you both to crawl in side by side. The interior is a small pocket of clear dark space. The strange fluid and flesh of the interior of the cocoon making some room for you.
Is there any other like solid things in there, or is it just space?
Give me a little investigation check. Or perception, we call it perception.
Well, those are different
Gray
results.
make one as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he's curious about what he's stepping into.
12 perception.
You see that there's like this like long, thin stick almost, but it's like porous. You realize that is the still dissolving like femur of this Sansaren, their body having returned to the cocoon in the psychic substrate. There are different textures and substances in this space, but you don't, in this immediate, at least, space, you don't see anything like solid or like, I'm not sure what you're looking for exactly, but yeah, you don't see any like solid interior structures in here. You can see if there are like
a million people huddled around together.
if they are, they're deeper in. Oh, what'd you get?
Natural one.
Yay!
So he is swimming in this goo.
Yeah, you see like some of your bugs who, like crawl inside, and they're just like happy. There's like, oh, there's like their like antennae are twitching in a hungry, excited sort of way. They know that there's like stuff to eat in here, and they're just going for it, being little bugs. And that's not for Gray. Yeah.
Gray's trying a little mouthful.
Yeah, it's oily. It like really kind of like you can feel it in the back of your tongue and throat even after you've swallowed it. Just kind of like you can feel it, just like leaving some residue.
Let's start consuming you from the inside out.
You do not immediately begin taking acid damage or anything. You find that the interior of this space, as it begins to envelop you, is fairly neutral. You feel its temperature is maybe close, a little bit under your body temperature, closer to like just like some room temperature. It feels like you can feel the differentiation between your own skin where this this stuff begins because of that difference, and in its sensation as it moves against your skin. The cocoon closes behind you and you are ensconced in its gooey darkness. You feel your minds pull from your bodies almost. Like the sense, it's almost like being in like a sensory deprivation chamber, like where you can feel like you're just kind of like floating in this fluid in space.
I don't want to be trapped there.
And as like any, I'm not sure what your character is experiencing despite our collective discomfort at this prospect. what your characters are feeling, but or how they're reacting to this, but yeah, as the cocoon encloses around you, and kind of you can feel this fluid kind of like supporting you, and you feel more like you're suspended in a gel than like a swimming pool, and as the darkness closes in around you, you feel as the darkness, the light leaves and the darkness surrounds you, you feel at that moment just like your mind's awareness is expanding out, or something, or being pulled back from your body. And that's like being left to just in the back of your mind. You can still feel the cool comfort of this space, so long as you don't think about it too much. Of your body resting in this space. There's no pressure points. You're not uncomfortable by any means. And it seems when you your mind, when you don't feel like you're suffocating. You don't even feel like you're holding your breath. Your mind is pulled back enough from your body that you don't feel an urgency or need to breathe. You think that your body is taking care of that need in some way. You don't feel the demand for oxygen or release of carbon dioxide manifesting itself, or you don't breathe at all. But the parts of your body that release gas or take in air from the outside world, even if you don't need it to survive, I think there's still some sense of that. You can feel that, you don't feel like it's necessarily clogged in a frightening way. In Gray, I'm always hesitant to put words in Gray's mouth. I was responding to things. But yeah, I think Gray, there's enough of this that just feels, natural. If Gray, if you could remember such a thing, it might be similar to being in the womb or something.
He's been a parasite before. He's latched on creatures and climbed his way inside.
You feel like you're connected to this cocoon in some way, and it's if your body has needs, it feels like the cocoon is taking care of it. Your mind becomes, at least in the drift aloofness beckons your minds and your consciousness. Do you accept that?
Yeah, I've not been there.
Party on. We came here.
You kind of loose yourselves from your, bodies in a way, and you feel the presence of each other first. You feel this very familiar sense that you intuitively identify as the other. And as you're in this space, Gray and Beep Boop, if you can imagine such a thing, can you describe for each other what the some sort of feeling or sensation they get from seeing or experiencing your consciousness? You guys are consciousness is adrift. Is there anything that is so innate about your characters or your personality that they would find something familiar, or find some connection to, or a familiar annoyance even?
I think Gray would be an endless shifting shape of animal and insect, and just with some divinity. There's some lightness to it, but just also pure chaos with it, just constantly random. Maybe if you're looking at an AI image where it's morphed creatures were just constantly morphing in and out of different textures and antennae and horns and teeth and just a constant, ever-changing image of creatures.
I'm just hold on, I'm picturing the Gray. It's amazing. You probably just it's less of an image and more of just a feeling of forever curiosity, similar to the chaoticness of you turning into animals. It's constantly rearranging and taking things apart and putting them back together, in that same sense, but less fleshy and more mechanic, not even mechanical necessarily, but just inorganic.
With random bits of yarn.
Yeah, random bits. It's just curiosity.
Like a puzzle being taken apart and solved.
Yeah. It's one of those puzzle cubes. It just constantly shifts and moves in a constant search for something new.
The correct shape.
Yeah. Oh god, that's fucking weird. Two opposite ends of the spectrum and yet somehow similar. That's just fucking poetry.
Yeah. What did I miss? Sorry.
Their psychic selves are recognizing each other as they drift
Okay.
away from their bodies and experience the psychic substrate of the psychofract, wherein the Samsarans live.
What was yours?
Like a morphing shape of like animals and insects and
okay.
just constant.
Okay.
Mess,
Chaos
a constant
storm.
Yeah.
changing mess of like antenna and horns and carapace and flesh.
I mean, you kind of fit in here with the Samsarans. Their insectoid, arachnid vibe. Anyway.
Yeah, you guys feel first like just this separation from your bodies, and you feel yourselves in this environment, and as you become more aware and attuned to your senses in this space, you first see each other, that these forms in their strange and chaotic and just naked consciousness forms are instantly recognizable to each other. And you have no idea how long after that you guys come to notice the presence of others. First, in that you sense that there are other things aware of you. There are things that can perceive you, and from their vantage point are seeing different elements or parts of your constantly changing consciousness and selves. And that awareness of being observed reveals itself to show the observers themselves a vast, almost like chorus of voices, chorus of eyes all around you in this space, seemingly having separated themselves or given you enough space so as to not overwhelm you with their presence. But you can feel now, as you are finding your legs here, the presence of just innumerable other minds, or at least it feels innumerable just because the sheer strangeness of interacting with other consciousnesses in this way, somewhat overwhelming. Why don't you just both give me a wisdom saving throw?
Okay, let's do that. This isn't a magical effect, is it? Oh wait,
I mean, kinda.
do I still have my sword? Is really the question.
This is not a charm effect.
Oh, no, it's just I have advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws in general
Yeah.
with that sword. I just
Yeah.
don't know if I still get that benefit.
You have it. It's attuned to your body. Your body is still effectively where your mind is situated. Even
Right.
though its experience is a little extra physical.
18.
18?
13.
13? Gray, you feel just like lifted up and buoyed by all of these other consciousness. Even their just mere awareness of you is changing, or like you can feel their awareness upon yourself, and you feel yourself responding to that awareness, and you can feel yourself being connected to them even just by their like perception of you. You feel this strange ebullience where you feel like lifted up by these other consciousnesses, and you feel connected to them in this really fascinating way. If all the bugs in your bag could talk or sing to you at once, this would be what it like. Sticking your head in that bag and hearing this is what that would be like. It is a wild and kind of I don't know what Gray makes of it, but like certainly I will say that it is somewhat overwhelming in some ways.
Does it feel like the flow of nature? As weed makes its way through nature and changes things? Is that more
In
or
some
less?
ways, it doesn't feel like inherently unnatural, but what it does feel like it feels like so many living things like overlapping or overlaying each other that is not, it's again, it's like to use the idea of like if the bugs were had an equal chorus,
Right.
like
Closer
they
to
have
a hive
yeah,
mind.
exactly, like
Yeah,
a hive mind, but
termite,
also just like so many different things happening at once. You'd have to be in the middle of a great mass of people to like experience this sort of thing. But if you could, like Gray, I think just kind of pictures things differently, and like you can imagine a great mass of insects surrounding them, and just like if all of those insects were talking to Gray at the same time, or like it's like you could interact with all of them interchangeably, like this mass of consciousness here. Yeah, certainly overwhelming. And it, you feel yourself flowing among and with these minds. They are being gentle in their touch, you think, Greg, lifting you up. That you can feel, I think, in nature, that, water that can lift you up can also have an undertow and suck you below. And there is maybe, I think, just this thought that this is a powerful force of nature or akin to one in this space.
And do we see them, or this is just feelings?
They are mostly feelings, most essentially, but your mind is constantly, just in the way like you guys were kind of describing your consciousness using like visual like element stuff, your mind is constantly like providing those sorts of images to help you like understand what you're experiencing. The perception is like, beyond the physical, but your brain is still kind of like falling back on physical perceptions and interpretations to help you like picture and understand what you're seeing. But you see you feel this like kind of chorus. You see at times like faces or voices or other like strange changing entities. Consciousnesses kind of like move closer or farther away from you in the space. Beep boop. They are encircling you.
It's not comfortable.
You have entered this space and you are not sure if you could find your way back out. Oh, a new cat. So brave. The novelty and just chaos of this space with like to you at least, the chaos of this space is almost enough to disguise the fact that they have closed the door behind you. You sense Gray's consciousness drifting up and like going up amongst the voices and strange beings that exist in this space. It's not out of reach, but does not seem to have the same awareness as you in this moment.
They close the door is like my body is less apparent to me, or as in
you
look, they just shut-
focus on the sensations of your body and you feel that connection is still there.
Okay, whew, more comfortable. Hello?
You hear innumerable voices call out, many in a chorus, just hello, welcome, hello. You wanted to know more about those like you? We know. I made you. Not you.
What?
Like you. So many like you.
One of you made me?
We made others. There are so many willing.
I'm gonna keep talking, but keep my consciousness near Gray the whole time.
Gray is, you're not sure what bounds and borders this space may find,
Mm-hmm.
Gray is drifting away from you.
Yeah, I want to drift in his away direction.
Your concern earlier about your body, while assuaged to some extent, you find not inappropriate. As you move towards Gray, you feel that connection to your body weakening.
Yeah, it's fine for now. It's gonna be these things always turn out to be fine.
You feel Gray still nearby, still drifting up and in.
Mm-hmm.
Have some connection there.
Yeah.
Not too worried yet.
Okay.
A form appears in front of you. It is. It is like you and like Gray, a strange and amorphous entity or presence, until in your mind it solidifies to a human woman. Aged, you can see deep crow's feet in her eyes and some very grayed, once dark hair. Says, hi, you had some questions about where your kind has come from in the past.
Yeah. So many questions. It seemed to be adrift, as it were.
I'm happy to answer any questions you have. As far as I'm able, I didn't create any of your kind, but I repaired many, brought them back to life.
When you mean to life, do you mean our physical forms, or, for lack of a better word, our spirit, soul?
Yes, well, both. Your kind, just as many, your lives are bound to your bodies. If your body is destroyed, your soul will move on, if it's able. There's no single answer to your kind. I said I didn't make any of you, but there were some of you that were made for dark purposes, but many who chose that path voluntarily. Your kind were often those who swore or bound themselves by an oath to some purpose beyond even their lives. I don't know what the world is like out there. Do you know anyone that has bound their soul to an artifact or an object of power to make themselves immortal?
Quite possibly one.
It's similar. It's a similar process then, so not too unfamiliar. But one that has, in most cases is done voluntarily. That's the easiest way to do such a thing. Involuntarily, though, it has also been inflicted upon people. Your kind have been used as instruments of war as well as defense and security, of domination as well as peace. There is no one answer to where you come from.
Yes. The Arcanomancers, they appeared to use us.
Even before them, some swore oaths to their gods or their people and found their purpose didn't need end with their lives, their bodies. Some who found that their purpose greater than themselves was worth hopefully just a delay in their transition to going to beyond, going to heaven or whatever else would await them normally. Some of the Arcanomancers, of course, would consume that potential for the soul to bind them. Those poor creatures have far fewer options after their forms are destroyed.
As you see, I have no recollection of any oath or purpose, and that is disturbing. And similar, my friend has had his memories altered, redacted.
We've noticed this. There are places in our past that we have not had reason to examine closely for many years. Your presence has caused us to ask some questions we have not, and we have found there are collective holes in our memory, holes in our collective memory. Just give me another wisdom saving throw.
From the
You do it as well, Gray. As you
drift
higher and deeper into this space, Gray, and you feel and like you can like dance or like explore the memories of all those gathered here, and there is such a wealth of memory that might be relevant to you. Like you can find yourself like searching through the memories of all these people in whichever ways you want. You know, like there may be different like potentially things that they hold back or whatever, but like. What do you think would draw Gray's attention as you are adrift in this space of meta-consciousness?
I think drifting away from Beat Group would probably give him some form of anxiety. Are we
that was related to the wisdom saving throw.
Right.
So, and that was kind of to judge how, if your character was aware of what was being resisted, what was affecting you, and your character has not resisted what's been affecting you, and that's
Which
included,
I don't think he would.
like a drawing away of your attention.
Right.
So that you probably feel like maybe some of that anxiety, but it's kind of in the back of your head unless this roll sets you straight.
19.
Yeah, so what initially drew, what sort of thoughts or memories would initially draw Gray's attention?
He's probably like really struggling to find people that know anything about bugs. And there's there's some people talking about stuff, but he's heard all of these bugs before. He wants to find the rare bugs. But then as he's kind of jumping mind to mind, he looks back to see Beep Boop engaged in conversation with some person and realizes he needs to get back and tries to focus his movement back towards that direction while still asking about bugs along the way.
Yeah. You found yourself adrift in this space and you're like looking for just knowledge of bugs and you're just like some of these idiots have some library sort of big words knowledge about bugs and putting them in different categories and stuff, and you're just no, you don't know what bugs do. And you're just searching through this just ocean of memories and things, and what really begins to draw your attention is this one of the Samsarans. Their specialty was effectively drawing inspiration and insight from natural processes, because you live in a magical world. So the world itself is going to like follow certain magical laws that we can then intuit from nature itself, and then recreate and find more natural pathways to the same goal. Sort of like this weird, like sort of like life magician sort of, or wizard sort of person, and they're like had this study of these like titanic bugs, these like insects that were like size of like, you know, like houses, and you're like just like awash in this memory, and there's like this like tug. Your beep boop is getting farther and more distant, and just as you're like just pulled by this like insight, this knowledge, you're like still trying to cling to it, even as you like start like trying to return to beep boop. And you as you kind of like sense the distance that's growing between you and Beep Boop, you notice that there are like walls almost coming in and securing themselves behind you, walls. Like kind of the first time you kind of looked back and kind of like sort of sensed, oh yeah, my body is in this space, Beep Boop's mind is over there, my mind's over here, like there's like all this stuff going on, and you begin to sense that the walls are closing in around you in this space. As Nazira and Quilla, you guys were in the helm, having seen your goals completed.
Yeah, we reoriented the ship.
Taria says, this is of great concern to all of us if the Illithid have established a substantial presence here. Concerning.
How did the Samsarans create the psychic shroud that is around the mountain?
From what I understand, the mountain itself is almost does the job needed already. The magic required to concisely and without interference manage the innumerable conjurative and divinatory magics that this mountain is capable of requires a space shielded from interference or other elements that might affect that magic. There is such a web of those sorts of magics being used all at the same time in so many different directions that to manage all that, it requires a sterile, is a way of describing it, environment.
I see.
The Samsarans, with their goal of piercing the shroud between our universe and the beyond, have made some changes to the mountain to amplify its psychic effects that already were, you know, as I said, somewhat present in the structure of the mountain itself.
And that was to further their goals of ascending to...
Yes. Instead of merely enshrouding the mountain, they changed it such that it could direct psychic energies, not just connect to the network and direct various like small divinatory and communication spells. Transferring a psychic entity through the veil requires precision and an immense amount of power of psychic energy, and they were able to figure out how to use the mountain to feed off the latent psychic energy that all living things manifest, and the Panopticon network can draw off, you know, just pull enough of that latent energy to do what it needs to. And they were able to use that to be a vehicle to, well, they hoped to push their psychic meta consciousness, I guess, through the veil into the realms beyond.
And what are they doing with the because it's drawing psychic energy constantly. So what are they doing with how are they directing the psychic energy? Are they storing it or?
Yes, some amount of psychic energy is required merely for the maintenance of their psychic substrate that they are existing in.
And
Arcanotech.
No, that's how I was.
Okay.
I'm in there right now.
Yeah, you're in there. You're in the substrate. Cut off power.
So if they're going to direct the psychic energy out into something else or in, would they need to do that through an apparatus on the mountain, like the communication array?
Yes, exactly. The cocoon that I'm sure you saw in the communications array, that serves as the anchor or the vessel for their psychic energy, and it has been placed at the nexus where the mountain can focus that energy and then direct it forth. The mountain itself will gain enough power to basically create enough of a flow. Imagine them right now afloat or stationary on a river.
Mm-hmm.
The river right now is too weak to propel them forward.
It's almost like a natural pond in the river.
Exactly. They'll need to build pressure behind it enough that it will push them out and beyond to the oceans.
Over the dam in the river.
Sure. Yes.
When did they start getting these ideas of ascending to the far realm?
What brought Arashni first to the Samsarans was their preoccupation with mortality or escaping the natural determinants or processes of their kind. So that has always, as far back as our history goes with them, that has been their purpose. I think it was, I'm not sure honestly what, they were here in the mountain before I met them. I met them after Arashni had discussed with them the exchange of learning more of them, sharing their essence, it is, in those days those days were different. Anyway, they shared with us their physical forms, their mortality, and we shared with them our immortality, our ability to maintain ourselves beyond a single life. That wasn't exactly what they had in mind, as the elven path is one of constant change and growth and rebirth. They didn't want that exactly. And they thought that, well, they had an insight and understanding that the mountain would give them, or could potentially give them, a method of something new, of traveling to a place where the rules didn't necessarily apply anymore. That was, as far as I always knew them, that was their intent. I don't know that Arashni gave them that idea, or if it was their own.
Or if it came from somewhere else.
The deep mind.
Maybe.
So if the mountain
Been manipulating things.
Could.
if the mountain's pointing up, the communication is pointing up into
The
space.
far realms are not in any one direction. They
No.
are inside and out of our universe, not up or down.
So you don't think it would make a difference which way it's pointed for
For
them to
them-
channel their energy?
Yeah, for the accumulation of psychic energy, the direction does not matter. And for the propulsion, the sending of their psychic network into the beyond, again, direction
Right.
does not mean what it means to us in that realm.
Would they have any other reasons for one direction or the other? Or use for it?
Not that I'm aware.
Okay.
You hear a different voice, Shippy, says, "Hi there. You gave me the task of downloading the entire library of the mountain. I thought it would only take an hour, but now it may take more than a year."
What?
Oh,
what?
wow.
Wow.
Its buffering bar
What-
is broken.
What did you get, Shippy, so far? Like-
some student archives. It seems like really poorly written reports.
Perfect. Maybe we could prioritize.
Prioritize?
Yes.
Yeah. Run it in the background.
Format all files.
Is that, does that also mean that it will take more Bellstone than you expected?
No, it's not a problem on my end.
Oh. Oh.
The map was
Wait.
transferring information much more slowly than it was just moments ago. I thought you should know.
Trapdoors.
Quilla quickly starts looking through like why that might be or trying to understand. Like she's reaching out trying to see if she can understand that.
Atari, is there a way we can look at the traffic into and out of the
Information traffic.
network traffic? Do we have Wireshark in here?
We're using NordVPN. We're sponsored NordVPN.
She says, if we connect to the controls again, we should be able to search. Yeah, come. And she goes back to the control panel and activates it again, and you feel that connection to it again, your consciousness. What are you trying to find?
Why the transfer speed dropped so much suddenly?
Yeah. You like look through, you like access the library, and you notice that the system's basically saying to you like, power to the library or available power to non-essential systems minimal.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we
back
turn the
to-
power back all the
We
way
did.
You look that power is still on. It's, if anything, running hotter than it was.
What
Where's
other
it
systems
going?
are on? What other systems are on?
You get this feeling like something's like falling out of beneath you, out of the floor, like some unknown system is pulling power.
Yeah. So I want to see if I can see what systems are on and how much power they're pulling,
Mm-hmm.
and see if I can isolate that system.
An unknown system is pulling power. You can see that power is being like full, some, like essential power has like as much as those systems require.
Mm-hmm.
The engines, the helm, etc. Those things just go. The library is an ancillary system. It has not had, power has not been intentionally redirected away from it or anything.
Mhm.
It's just that available power to secondary systems is almost nil right now.
Hey Shippy, can you tell what this unknown power is? I don't know if Quilla can actually tell there's an unknown power. Probably.
No, I
Sure,
would have, yeah.
Sure.
Doing a little
Yeah.
narration as
Yeah.
you figure it out. Why don't you give me an investigation check? Shippy says, I'm not sure. All I can tell is that the transfer rate has really dropped to almost a crawl.
Huh.
28.
Oh.
28.
Nice. So good.
There is power being drawn away from, this is again an unrecognized drain.
Mm-hmm.
There is something that is pulling power from the system. It is pulling massive amounts of power,
Can we
and
cut
it
it off?
is pulling it to the communications array. It is not
That's
going
worrisome.
into like the primary systems. It's not like changing the like apparent, like function of the communications array in this moment. But there is something drawing an immense amount of power, and you can at least tell the direction it's going,
Okay.
and it's drawing in there. There's something.
Something's going on in the communications array.
Might need to go back up there.
Yeah. Batari, is there anything up there besides the Samsarans and the communication system?
Oh.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
The changes that the Samsarans made to the Mount Inaru do not exist normally. They're not included in the system's reports here.
This is something they're doing.
This is something the Samsarans are doing.
Let's
Okay.
go.
The
Yeah.
download speed has exceeded
Can
the
we
upload.
let's stop the direction and hold steady, because I think they could use that
they could use
location again. Do you know if that location is just as significant to them as it is to you?
I'll put
us?
If anything,
we
I
should-
recommend we hasten to it. If we want to save lives of those on the surface of the mountain,
Okay.
they will, like I could have, achieve their goals with or without a connection to the network. If we allow a connection to the network, any psychic drain will be attenuated enough across the entire world that it won't kill anyone. But if they choose to do it without that connection, anybody in the mountain outside the core will die.
Can I cut connection? All power going to the
Unknown source.
to the communications. Yeah,
You can't.
I can't. Lock
Because
it
it's
out.
outside of the normal systems.
There's a lock in the system.
Oh shoot. Okay.
All right,
Let's go.
let's run back.
Yeah. Let's go fast. Let's go
Can I
fast.
shut down power to the mountain as a whole?
Go back
No.
to nothing. Okay. Shoot.
It's at least in this access to the system through this, like
Okay.
basically like it's described before, front end access. Like this has been, they've ensured some elements of this system will not be trifled with.
Oh man. Well looked at.
You can like immediately with
Alright.
your connections see that there are like walls and locks set up around certain things, like around access to control of power to the communications array, total power available in the system. You cannot shut the mountain down, you think, without trying to hack it in some way. You cannot divert power from the communications array without trying to hack it in some way. Your preeminent hacker is inside a cocoon right now. And you can sense that the draw of power to the communications array is rapid and substantial.
Can we tell if they've done any different power to the engine room, or if there's any like lockouts in the engine room?
Just the same ones.
Just the same, okay.
Yeah, like any system that you access without trying to like hack or break something is
We're
basically
locked,
locked out.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna rush up to the communications array.
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
rush.
I love this image of you guys sprinting down the hallway
Yeah.
to get into an elevator.
Do we have to wait to slow music? Yeah.
Right back down.
Oh my gosh.
All right. I think
I swear to God,
it's 8:50 right now.
I will.
Enjoy your time in the fire realm, guys. Bye.
I have like at least 2 more questions.
Yeah, I got a plan
I have.
Oh my gosh.
if Gray's uncomfortable
Okay.
with the situation.
I think what your most recent save, Gray is uncomfortable with the situation.
I rolled a 20. By the way,
For what?
my wisdom save. Unless I don't need to keep making them
Yeah,
anymore.
you absolutely like. You can tell that you're not sure if this person is part of a plot to keep you distracted, but you feel your attention being like drawn away from the walls folding in behind you, effectively, and around you.
Yeah.
So Gray and Beep Boop
Where are we currently?
recognize the danger they're in.
Gray turns into a killer whale.
Are we still in the mountain?
And Phila and Azira and Vitaria are in the helm,
Rushing toward.
rushing to the communications array.
I drew a cocoon with a scarf and a bug sticking out of it.
Yes, great.
Can she
Oh man.
answer one?
Absolutely. she
Is
can
our
answer.
consciousness still in the mountain? Is this where is this?
You're among the Samsarian.
Yes, but where? Are we still in the material? Are we
Yes,
in
sir.
the
The
mountain?
cocoon is an anchor for this space. For now. Our bodies, our minds are still there.
If Gray could access his physical body, he wants to turn into a killer whale.
Yeah. We'll see about that next
Ah,
time.
God damn it.
Oh,
I'm
man.
so angry. Why? Can't we just play Dungeons and Dragons forever?
It's Labor Day tomorrow.
I
Let's
mean,
go to midnight.
I didn't have to drive home. Ah!
You'll get home at midnight. Is what you
I
mean.
get echolocated as a
Yeah.
whale.
Yeah.
Hold on back for 30 minutes.
Hey,
I think it's everything I need.
you're
to survive
probably
this
bigger
situation.
than the pod itself.
That's what my hopes are. And I can echolocate Coop and get him out of there.
have a plan.
Okay, we always have a plan. Let's see if
Always
that
a
works out.
plan.
Oh,
Sort of.
oh man.
Maybe. Ah,
This is why you always split the party.
yeah, it's a great
Perfect.
idea. Every time we've done it, nothing but good things.
We're gonna run in there and be like, "Where are they? They
Yeah.
killed them,
And
obviously."
Xerox drops another people's elbow on.
Yeah.